The flight back to the Endeavor was tense with anticipation. Jake clutched the alien communication device, feeling its warm pulse against his palm as it continued to establish some kind of connection with his nervous system. The experience was unsettling but fascinating, like having a new sense organ that he was slowly learning to use. "ETA to the ship?" Torres asked as she piloted the shuttle through the planet's upper atmosphere. 12 minutes, Dr. Kim replied from the navigation station. "Captain Chin is requesting immediate debriefing as soon as we dock." Jake stared out the viewport at the curve of the alien world below them. From orbit, it looked even more Earth-like, with swirling cloud patterns and vast blue oceans that spoke of a thriving biosphere. But now he knew there was so much more down there, an entire civilization with technology that defied human understanding. "Jake," Dr. Vasquez said, studying her readings from the communication device, "that thing is showing some unusual energy signatures. It's definitely interfacing with your nervous system somehow, but I'm not detecting any harmful effects." "It feels friendly," Jake said, struggling to find words for the experience. "Like it's trying to understand how my mind works so it can facilitate communication." "Be careful," Torres warned. "We don't know what kind of long-term effects alien biotechnology might have on human physiology." The Endeavor came into view as they cleared the planet's atmosphere, its hull still bearing the scars from their passage through the debris field. But Jake was relieved to see that the external repair work was progressing. New hull plates had been welded over the worst breaches, and the navigation array appeared to be functional again. As they docked, Jake felt the alien device pulse with what he could only describe as recognition. Somehow, it was aware of the larger ship and the thousands of human lives aboard it. Captain Chin was waiting for them in the main briefing room, along with Dr. Morrison, the chief medical officer, and several other senior staff members. Her expression was carefully neutral, but Jake could see the tension in her posture. "Report," she said simply. Torres took the lead, providing a concise summary of their encounter with the aliens and their technology. As she spoke, Jake watched Chen's expression shift from skepticism to amazement to concern. "You're telling me there's an advanced alien civilization on this planet, and they know about interstellar travel?" Chen asked. "More than that," Jake said. "They have detailed knowledge of the wormhole networks. They showed us star maps indicating that this region of space has multiple stable wormhole connections. Which means other ships could come through at any time," Chen concluded. "Are these aliens friendly to humans?" Jake held up the communication device. "They gave us this. It's some kind of biotechnological communicator that interfaces directly with human neural patterns. I think they're trying to establish diplomatic relations." Dr. Morrison leaned forward with obvious interest. "May I examine that device? We need to understand what it's doing to your nervous system." As Morrison ran his scanner over the device, Jake felt another pulse of recognition from it. But this time, the sensation was different, more complex, carrying information rather than just emotional states. Images flashed through his mind, the alien settlement, but seen from a different perspective. Underground chambers filled with the same biotechnological systems they'd seen in the tower. And something else, other ships, clearly not of human origin, scattered around what appeared to be a massive space station. "Jake?" Chen's voice seemed to come from far away. "What's happening?" Jake blinked and found himself back in the briefing room, with everyone staring at him with concern. "The device just showed me something. The aliens have more than just a planetary civilization, they have a space station, and there are other alien ships there." "Other aliens?" Dr. Vasquez asked. "I think so. The ships look different from anything we've seen." Jake concentrated, trying to recall the details of the vision. The station was huge, maybe 10 times the size of the Endeavor. And it was clearly ancient. Some of the structures looked like they'd been there for centuries. Chun was quiet for a moment, processing the implications. "So we're not just dealing with one alien species. This could be some kind of interstellar crossroads. Which explains why they know about the wormhole networks," Torres added. "They're probably in regular contact with multiple alien civilizations." Before anyone could respond, the ship's intercom crackled to life. Captain, to the bridge, Priority 1. We have incoming ships. Chen was on her feet immediately. How many? 3 vessels, unknown configuration. They just emerged from what appears to be another wormhole opening. Jake felt the communication device pulse urgently, and suddenly his mind was flooded with images and sensations from the aliens on the planet below. Danger. Warning. Hide. Captain, he said urgently. The aliens are warning us. These ships, they're not friendly. The bridge was a study in controlled chaos when they arrived. The main display showed 3 dark vessels approaching their position, their hulls reflecting no light, and their profiles suggesting predatory intent. What do we know about them? Chen asked. They're not broadcasting any identification signals, Lieutenant Commander Liu reported. Configuration is unlike anything in our databases, and they're using some kind of stealth technology that makes detailed scanning difficult. Jake stared at the approaching ships and felt a chill run down his spine. They moved with a kind of mechanical precision that suggested advanced automation, and their weapons ports were already opening. They're preparing to fire, Torres observed. Recommend evasive maneuvers. With what? Chen replied grimly. Our engines are barely functioning, and we can't outrun anything in our current condition. The communication device in Jake's hand pulsed again, and suddenly he was seeing through alien eyes. The creatures on the planet below were moving with urgent purpose, activating what appeared to be defensive systems. And in space above them, something massive was beginning to decloak. Captain, Jake said, there's something else up here. Something big. As if in response to his words, space itself seemed to shimmer about 50 kilometers away from the Endeavor. The distortion grew and solidified into the shape of a massive vessel, the space station from his earlier vision, but real and immediate. Where did that come from? Liu gasped. Cloaking technology, Torres said grimly. They'd been watching us this whole time. The station was enormous, easily 20 times the size of the Endeavor, with architecture that combined the organic curves of the planet-based aliens with more angular, technological elements. Weapons ports along its hull were beginning to glow with energy. The approaching hostile ships seemed to recognize the threat. They altered course, swinging away from the Endeavor and toward the larger station. Weapons fire began to light up the space between them, brilliant energy beams, and what appeared to be some kind of plasma weaponry. We're caught in the middle of a battle, Chen said. Recommendations? Jake felt the communication device pulse with urgent instructions. Images flashed through his mind, the Endeavor moving toward the station, docking bays opening to receive them, safety within the larger vessel's protective systems. The station, he said. They're offering us sanctuary. That could be a trap, Torres warned. Or it could be our only chance, Chen replied. She turned to Liu. Can we make it to the station? If we push the engines past safety margins, maybe. But if they fail, then we'll be dead anyway. Do it. The Endeavor lurched forward, its damaged engines straining to produce enough thrust to reach the safety of the alien station. Around them, the battle continued to rage, with the 3 hostile ships using hit-and-run tactics against the station's more powerful but less maneuverable weapons. Jake watched the tactical display and realized that this wasn't the first time these 2 groups had fought. The patterns of engagement were too practiced, too familiar. This was an ongoing conflict, and the humans had stumbled into the middle of it. Docking bay opening on the station, Liu reported. They're guiding us in. As the Endeavor approached the massive station, Jake got his first close look at its construction. The hull was covered in the same biotechnological patterns he'd seen on the planet, but there were also sections that were clearly mechanical, suggesting a hybrid of biological and traditional engineering. The aliens down on the planet, he said to Chen. I don't think they're the only species involved in this station. This looks like a cooperative effort between multiple civilizations. The docking process was surprisingly smooth, with the station's systems automatically adjusting to accommodate the Endeavor's configuration. As soon as they were secured, Jake felt the communication device pulse with relief and welcome. We're safe, he reported. At least for now. Chen nodded grimly. Get me a full damage assessment and status report on our repair capabilities. If we're going to be stuck here, I want to know our options. As the crew began securing the ship and assessing their situation, Jake stared out at the vast interior of the alien station. Through the docking bay windows, he could see other ships, vessels of configurations he never imagined, representing technologies and design philosophies from across the galaxy. They'd set out to establish a colony on Europa, a simple mission to extend human presence in their own solar system. Instead, they'd found themselves refugees in an interstellar conflict, dependent on alien allies they barely understood. But as Jake felt the warm pulse of the communication device in his hand, he realized that maybe this was exactly where they needed to be. The universe was far stranger and more dangerous than humanity had ever imagined, but it was also full of allies and possibilities they'd never dreamed of. The real adventure was just beginning. The interior of the alien station was a marvel that defied human architectural understanding. Jake followed Captain Chen and the rest of the senior staff through corridors that seemed to grow and adapt around them, their bioluminescent walls pulsing with patterns that might have been decoration, communication, or something else entirely. Their guide was the same elder alien from the planet below. Apparently it had been aboard the station during their encounter and had teleported or transported up somehow. The communication device in Jake's hand helped bridge the language barrier, translating emotional context and basic concepts even when specific words remained incomprehensible. "The scale of this place is incredible," Dr. Vasquez whispered, studying her readings. "I'm detecting at least 30 different atmospheric zones, each tailored for different physiological requirements." Jake nodded, watching other aliens move through the corridors around them. He'd counted at least 6 different species so far, ranging from the graceful beings they'd met on the planet to what appeared to be silicon-based life forms that communicated through crystalline resonance. Each group had their own section of the station, but they moved freely between areas as if cooperation was natural. "It's a diplomatic station," he realized. "A neutral meeting ground for multiple species." The elder alien led them to what appeared to be a central command center, where representatives from various species were gathered around a massive holographic display. The display showed the local region of space, with wormhole networks, patrol routes, and what were clearly marked as danger zones. "Captain Chen," the elder alien said, its words translated through the communication device into Jake's mind. "Welcome to Haven Station. I am untranslatable concept suggesting one who facilitates harmony, but you may call me Harmony." Chen stepped forward, clearly struggling with the surreal nature of the situation. "Thank you for the sanctuary. I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Endeavor. We're grateful for your assistance." Harmony gestured to the holographic display. "Your species is new to this region of space. You came through the Forbidden Gate, the wormhole that connects to your galaxy's edge. Few survive that passage intact. Why is it forbidden?" Chen asked. Another alien stepped forward. This one was taller and more angular than Harmony's species, with what appeared to be metallic skin that reflected the room's bioluminescent patterns. When it spoke, its voice resonated like struck metal. "Because it leads to a region of space dominated by the Devourers," the alien said. "The ships that attacked you were scouts. They're searching for new sources of raw material." Jake felt his blood run cold. "Raw material?" Harmony's emotional state, transmitted through the communication device, carried deep sadness and old pain. "The Devourers consume entire civilizations. They strip worlds of all life, harvest populations for their biotechnology, and move on to the next system. They've been expanding into this region for the past century." "How many civilizations have they destroyed?" Dr. Vasquez asked. 17 confirmed, the metallic alien replied. "Possibly more. We've been fighting a defensive war, trying to protect refugee populations and maintain the wormhole network for legitimate travelers." Chen studied the tactical display with obvious concern. "Our ship is damaged. We can't return through the wormhole even if we wanted to. Are we trapped here?" "Not trapped," Harmony said. "But your situation is complex. The Devourers now know of your existence, and they will return in greater numbers. Your ship cannot withstand their assault. Jake looked around the command center, noting the advanced technology and the coordination between multiple species. But you can protect us? Haven Station can defend itself, yes. But we cannot protect your entire population indefinitely. The Devourers are persistent, and they have resources we cannot match in a prolonged conflict. The metallic alien manipulated the holographic display, zooming in on several star systems marked in red. They control 12 systems in this region now, including 2 that were heavily populated. We estimate their current fleet strength at over 300 vessels. 300? Chen's voice was tight with controlled fear. How many ships do you have? 47 combat vessels, plus Haven Station's defensive systems. We also have allies in neighboring regions, but coordination across the wormhole network is difficult. Jake studied the display, his engineer's mind automatically calculating odds and possibilities. The numbers weren't good. The Devourers had overwhelming superiority in both numbers and resources. What are our options? He asked. Harmony turned to Jake, and through the communication device he felt a complex mixture of hope and uncertainty. There are several possibilities. Your people could be integrated into our refugee populations. We have established safe colonies in hidden systems where the Devourers have not yet penetrated. Abandoning Earth humanity to hide in alien colonies, Chen said grimly. What else? We could attempt to repair your ship sufficiently for long-range travel, the metallic alien suggested. But the technology gap is significant. Your fusion drives are primitive compared to the propulsion systems needed for effective interstellar travel. Or, Harmony said quietly, your people could join the Alliance. Alliance? Harmony gestured to the other aliens in the command center. The Galactic Harmony Alliance. We are a confederation of species dedicated to mutual defense and the preservation of civilized space. Your species has qualities that would be valuable to our cause. Jake felt a spark of interest. What kind of qualities? Adaptability, the metallic alien replied. Humans learn quickly and adapt their technology to new situations faster than most species. Your military tactics are also unconventional. The Devourers have difficulty predicting human behavior. Chen was quiet for a moment, clearly weighing the implications. What would joining this alliance entail? Mutual defense agreements, technology sharing, and coordinated response to Devourer incursions, Harmony explained. In return, your people would receive protection, access to advanced technology, and assistance in establishing colonies and safe systems. And the catch? Your ship, the Endeavor, would become part of the Alliance fleet. Your crew would be trained in Alliance protocols and equipped with our technology. You would be expected to participate in defensive operations. Jake looked at Captain Chin and saw the weight of command pressing down on her shoulders. She was being asked to make a decision that would affect not just the 2,000 people aboard the Endeavor, but potentially the future of humanity itself. I need time to consider this, Chin said. And I need to consult with my crew and the colonial leadership. Of course, Harmony replied. But time is a luxury we may not have. The Devourer scouts will report back to their fleet, and they will return in force. We estimate 72 hours before the next incursion. As they were led to quarters aboard the station, Jake found himself thinking about the impossible journey that had brought them here. They'd started as colonists heading to Europa, ordinary people looking for a new life among the stars. Now they were refugees in an interstellar war, with the fate of human space exploration hanging in the balance. But as he felt the warm pulse of the alien communication device in his hand, Jake realized that maybe this was exactly the kind of challenge humanity needed. They'd always been explorers and survivors, adapting to new environments and finding ways to thrive in the most unlikely circumstances. Captain, he said as they reached their assigned quarters, I think we should seriously consider the Alliance offer. Chen looked at him with surprise. You want to turn the Endeavor into a warship? I want to give humanity a chance to survive in a universe that's more dangerous than we ever imagined, Jake replied. These aliens have technology that could solve our problems, but they also need our help. Maybe that's the real reason we ended up here, Not by accident, but because both sides need each other. Chen was quiet for a long moment. Get some rest, Jake. Tomorrow we're going to have the most important meeting in human history. As Jake settled into his quarters, a fascinating blend of human ergonomics and alien biotechnology, he stared out at the vast interior of Haven Station. Ships from a dozen different species moved through the docking bays, their crews working together despite fundamental biological differences. It was a vision of what the galaxy could be, diverse species cooperating for mutual benefit, sharing knowledge and resources while maintaining their individual identities. But it was also a reminder of what they were fighting against. The Devourers represented the opposite philosophy: consumption without creation, destruction without purpose. The communication device pulsed gently in his hand, carrying with it a sense of possibility and hope. Whatever decision Captain Chen made, Jake knew that humanity's future among the stars would be very different from anything they'd originally planned. But maybe that was exactly what they needed. 6 months later, Jake stood in the upgraded engineering section of the Endeavor, marveling at the integration of human and Alliance technology. The ship barely resembled its original configuration. Biotechnological conduits snaked through traditional metal bulkheads, and the old fusion drives had been replaced with quantum resonance engines that could push them to significant fractions of light speed. Status report, Chief Engineer Morrow, came Captain Chen's voice over the comm. Jake smiled at the title. His official promotion to Chief Engineer had come with his assignment to oversee the Endeavor's transformation into one of the Alliance's most effective hybrid vessels. The combination of human adaptability and alien technology had produced innovations that surprised even the station's most experienced engineers. All systems green, Captain. Quantum drives are operating at optimal efficiency, and the bioneural navigation system is fully integrated with our original computer core. Excellent. Prepare for departure in 30 minutes. Jake made his final checks and headed for the bridge, passing through corridors that hummed with activity. The crew of the Endeavor had adapted to their new role with characteristic human resilience. Some had chosen to remain on Haven Station or relocate to Alliance colonies, but most had embraced their new mission as humanity's first representatives in the galactic community. The bridge had been completely redesigned, with workstations that responded to both human ergonomics and Alliance interface standards. Dr. Vasquez was at the science station, monitoring the bioneural systems that had revolutionized their sensor capabilities. Torres remained at Tactical, now equipped with defensive systems that could hold their own against Devourer scouts. Final departure checklist complete, Torres reported. All passengers and cargo secure. Jake looked at the passenger manifest with pride. They were carrying representatives from 3 Alliance species to a diplomatic meeting in the Centauri Reach, as well as a group of human colonists who would establish the first joint Human-Alliance settlement. It was exactly the kind of mission he dreamed of during the long journey toward Europa, exploring new worlds and building bridges between different civilizations. Quantum drives online, he reported. Ready for departure. Take us out, Lieutenant Commander Liu, Chen ordered. The Endeavor undocked from Haven Station with the same grace it had once shown navigating Earth's solar system, but now it moved through space with capabilities that would have seemed like magic just months earlier. The quantum drives engaged with a harmonic resonance that Jake could feel in his bones, and space itself seemed to bend around them as they accelerated toward their destination. Through the viewports, Jake could see other Alliance vessels in formation around them, sleek ships from Harmony's species, crystalline constructs from the silicon-based life forms, and angular warships from the metallic beings who called themselves the Resonance. They were escorting a convoy of refugee ships to safety, part of the ongoing effort to stay ahead of Devourer expansion. Incoming transmission from Haven Station, Liu reported. The main screen flickered and resolved into the image of Harmony, whose bioluminescent patterns had become as familiar to Jake as any human expression. Safe travels, Endeavor, Harmony said, the words flowing through the communication device that Jake now wore as naturally as breathing. Your mission to the Centauri Reach could be the key to bringing the Outer Rim systems into the Alliance. We won't let you down, Chen replied. Humanity is committed to this alliance. And the Alliance is stronger for humanity's presence. Your species brings perspectives we never considered. May they serve us all well in the trials ahead." As the communication ended, Jake reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them here. They'd lost Europa, the colony they'd spent years planning and dreaming about. But they'd gained something far more valuable, a place in a community of worlds, a chance to help shape the future of galactic civilization. The communication device pulsed with gentle warmth, carrying echoes of approval and affection from Harmony and the other Alliance representatives aboard Haven Station. These beings had become more than allies. They were friends, united by common cause and mutual respect. "ETA to Centauri reach?" Chen asked. 47 hours at current velocity," Lou replied. "The quantum drives are performing beautifully." Jake smiled and settled back to monitor the ship's systems. 47 hours to reach a star system that would have taken decades with their original technology. They were covering distances that previous generations of humans could only dream of, and doing it in service of something greater than any single species. Outside the viewports, stars wheeled past in patterns of impossible beauty, and Jake knew that somewhere among them were worlds where the Alliance was building new settlements, establishing new colonies, and offering hope to refugees from devourer-ravaged systems. The universe was vast and dangerous, filled with threats that humanity had never imagined. But it was also full of allies and possibilities, of civilizations that had learned to work together despite fundamental differences. And at the heart of it all was the simple truth that had brought them this far: when people, regardless of their species, chose cooperation over conflict, creation over destruction, anything was possible. The Endeavour sailed on through the star-filled darkness, carrying its human crew and alien passengers toward new horizons and greater adventures. Behind them, Haven Station continued its vigil, protecting the wormhole networks and offering sanctuary to those who needed it. Ahead lay unknown challenges and incredible opportunities. Jake touched the communication device at his throat and felt the presence of minds both human and alien, all united in purpose and hope. They'd set out to establish a simple colony on Jupiter's moon, but they'd found something far more valuable: their place among the stars and the knowledge that they were not alone. The future stretched ahead like an uncharted star map, full of promise and possibility. And Jake Morrow, mechanic turned chief engineer, refugee turned galactic diplomat, couldn't wait to see what they would discover next.